Good morning. I'm going to talk about contradictions, starting off with the fact that the Course is made up of words, and words are symbols of symbols. So, we must look beyond them for their meaning. Their meaning isn't contained within a symbol. And I also want to address something Jesus says in, I believe, the Manual for Teachers, which is, if you seek controversy, you'll find it. Seek the experience first, and don't, get wrapped up in controversy, which will always be of the ego. So the Course seems to be full of contradictions. And I also want to quote Ken. He said, Jesus pointed to God and everyone worshipped his finger. So we worship symbols instead of what they represent. It's what they represent that is important. A symbol is nothing. And we live in a symbolic world. We give meaning to everything around us. So one of the contradictions that I kind of like is in the Manual for Teachers, where he says, all levels are part of God's plan, and God's plan can have no levels. So in the same sentence, it contradicts itself. And so what we do in the face of the contradiction is we ask for help, and we ask what it means. We don't decide for ourselves. Jesus talks about brothers. We don't have 8 billion brothers. There are figures in the dream that are not our brother. They're the forms we use to prove what we are by seeing them as egos, to prove to ourselves what we are, which is a body in a world. And so we can utilize the symbols on behalf of the illusion to perpetuate it, or we can use them to move beyond them, transcend them, and look at what they're pointing to. So the Course is set in an earthly frame. And so that is so that we can understand it. It's in our language, and our language has meaning. And so those contradictions are sorted out in the holy instant. Because when we follow the teaching and we follow the practice, it leads us to an experience, that place within us, the quiet, the stillness, in which we experience the something else. And it's that experience we want. And in that experience, all contradictions are resolved. And there are no questions. Questions are always of the ego. They represent a version of level confusion. Level 1 is the truth, oneness, God, all in all. And level 2 is the illusion and the denial of truth. So we won't get tripped up while we're reading the Course if we realize that everything in the metaphysical chart is happening at the level of the mind. So we can utilize those contradictions to try to shove into our nightmare what the Course is saying, but we will see that it won't work, that forgiveness doesn't happen between two bodies. We don't condemn and then forgive. We are elevated by the Course. It is pointing beyond itself, which is where we are. It's pointing beyond the self that we made. It's not talking to a body in a world. There are no bodies in the world. We hear what makes no sound. We see what is not there. That is insanity. That is an hallucination. So how would you convince somebody that they're hallucinating? First, you'd have to join them where they are and teach them that it is their world that is contradictory, that doesn't make any sense, to lead them beyond it. So we take Jesus' hand and we follow him, and we recognize we do not know the truth, to welcome it. Thanks for listening.